A lot of what we call dating today is not healthy. You're not just dating to have someone, you're dating with direction. Who you are before marriage will show up in your marriage. Hey guys, it's your girl Khash, and welcome to the Girl Let Me Tell You podcast. This is a space where we have real conversations about life, relationships, healing, and purpose, all through a God centered lens. From marriage to friendships to motherhood to becoming the woman God has called you to be, nothing is off limits here. So if you're on a journey of healing, growth, and becoming, you're in the right place. So whether you're driving, winding down at the end of your day, or just taking a moment for yourself, this is something you can sit with. Let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Let Me Tell You podcast. This is episode 6, and today we're talking about dating, waiting, and healing before marriage. This is going to be good. And what it really looks like to do it God's way. Let's be honest, I'm jumping right in. A lot of what we call dating today is not healthy. And if you don't know what healthy looks like, you'll normalize things that are actually red flags. Let's start with healthy versus unhealthy dating. Yeah, I think that's a good start. Let's start there. So, what does healthy dating even look like? Because a lot of people are dating, but there's no intention behind it, right? Unhealthy dating looks like moving too fast, having no boundaries in place, giving access way too early, getting emotionally attached with no direction. That is one of the most, those are a few of the top things that I see that I've been seeing or seen. And for me, healthy dating looks like it has intention, it has boundaries, there's clarity. You're not just dating to have someone, you're dating with direction, right? And I'm not just saying this to say it. I had to learn this too, the hard way. Before I met my husband, I made a decision that I wanted to stay celibate. And when I met him, we dated for months. We kept that boundary. We didn't really date that long before he knew that he wanted to marry me. I think by 6, 7 months, he knew, right? Not saying that we didn't get engaged then, but he knew. And we were talking marriage at 6, 7 months. We were talking marriage from the day we met, but he made it real clear. This is where I want to take it. And that's a man who knows what he wants. Okay. I remember one moment so very clearly where I knew that this man is intentional. I think it was about a week after our first date. I'll tell you a short story. I ended up getting a flat tire at work. And my husband, at the time, we were just dating. It was just a couple weeks in. He drove all the way from his job in Westchester to where I was working in Manhasset. He came into my job's parking lot, fixed my tire, right? Put the spare tire back on, drove my car. He was like, "Here, take my car." Drove my car. We went to the nearest tire shop. He waited, he paid for my tire. He made sure the car was drivable. He followed me home to make sure I got home safe. That right there, I told him months later, like, that stole my heart. I didn't even say it out loud. I was just like, oh my God, this man is intentional. He just showed up, you know? He showed me something that not every man is confused. Some men are just not intentional, but he showed me intentionality from day one. And that just put the icing on the cake because he made sure to call, he made sure to text. I mean, and back in the day, phone calls were, more frequent. Nowadays it's just text messages and voice notes, but he made it his business to make sure that I knew he was intentional. The courting, the dating, the dates, just very intentional. And that's why I don't even like calling it dating nowadays, because I believe in courting, because he courted me. We went on 10 straight dates and he planned them out. He was so intentional. I had nothing, I just showed up looking real cute, right? When a man is courting you, he has more of direction, right? He knows he's not trying to figure things out. And even if they might not even have it all figured out, it looks like they do, right? He already knows he's pursuing you and he's dating for marriage, not just for a straight out entertainment. And this is where a lot of women get it wrong, because you can say you want something serious, but your actions don't match it, right? Ladies, if you've been talking to a man for 2 or 3 months, and now this is the part where I've been watching this on social media. I've said this before. They show up with the man, they post the man on their Instagram, and we clearly know that y'all just met because you just got out of something a month ago. And all of a sudden, within 2 months, y'all already in the Bahamas somewhere. Baby, that's a red flag. I don't care what anybody says. Let's be real. You're going on vacation with someone you just met 3 months ago. You're sharing rooms. You're giving the person access. And if you give a man access too early, he has no reason to wait. He has no reason to stick around because you just gave him everything on that vacation. And then you come back and you wonder why the phone calls are not coming in the way they used to. The text messages are slowing down. You're not getting your flowers. It just goes left because that man already got what he wanted. We got to learn how to date. When I say we, I mean y'all, how to date with dignity, right? If you're serious about doing things the right way, you have to set boundaries in place. You don't give him everything before he commits. Y'all are just dating. It's not even, he didn't even ask you to be his girlfriend yet. Y'all just met 3 months ago. Why are you on vacation with this stranger? Come on. So, and this right here, it doesn't stop once you get into a relationship either, right? You have to, even for the engaged women, right? I see that. So that's the dating aspect. I want to flow a little bit more into when you're engaged, right? And the dating doesn't stop once you get into a relationship either. And I see this with engaged women too. You know, they get the ring and they are so relaxed. They think that, and I get it. You think, oh, I worked so hard and I got this ring. There's still work to do. And let me say this. I've seen some of the longest engagements in history. You don't need to be engaged 2 to 5 years. That person doesn't want to get married. That man is not trying to get married. Because why do you need to be engaged for 2 years? A year tops to give you time to plan a wedding, especially if you are trying to have, if you have a big family and you want to have a decent sized wedding. You have to save up your money and find a venue, and sometimes that could take time. I can say a year, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years of engagement, why? Y'all are not serious. Someone's not serious, because you don't need that long of an engagement. And honestly, when a man knows exactly what he wants, he will take you straight to that courthouse and say, let's make this official. We can figure out the wedding at a later time, because you want to focus on the marriage, not just the wedding, right? You can always celebrate later. But I get it. Some people have this idea in their mind that they want this fairy tale wedding. This is what they dreamt of their whole entire life. But when you're doing it for different reasons, all of that gets, you push that all to the back, because we're trying to get this right in front of the Lord. We are not trying to, you don't want to fornicate. You just want to do the right thing, because the wedding is only one day. Marriage is a lifetime. So that's what I wanted to talk about with the engagement portion. That's for the people that are engaged in marriage. I want to flow a little bit more into the healing portion, right? And if I'm being real with you, none of that works if you're not whole. And I'm not saying you have to walk into a marriage whole. Because if you look at me, I wasn't completely whole. But the Lord knew what he was dealing with. There were things that was whole about me, but not everything, right? Because if you go into marriage so wounded, you will bleed on your spouse. And yes, like I said, God will grow you in marriage, but there's a level of healing you should come into marriage with. You don't want to bring chaos into covenant. You really don't. You want to be mature. You want to learn how to deal with conflict. You want to learn that when you are in a space of disagreement, you don't want to shut down and walk away from your spouse and leave. And you want to have a level of maturity so you can handle the communication aspect that comes with marriage. So be healed, or at least work on it before stepping into that space. So, what about the women that are waiting right now? Not dating, not looking, just, I hope you guys are listening right now. If you're in that space and you're not dating, wait on God. And I know that sounds so cliche, right? Wait on God. But it's true. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Don't try to create something God didn't send. Because remember, you want to trust in the Lord with all your heart, and don't lean on your own understanding, because you could be single today, and in 2 or 3 months from now, he will send you your husband, because you were patient, you were obedient, you were discerning. The Lord will speak to you, tell you where to go. You will accidentally but purposefully bump into your husband because the Lord said go to the library today, or take the train and don't take the bus. Things like that. You will listen. God is so strategic. He is. And I'm going to give you a little backstory about me with that. um I met my husband on an app. What was the name of the app again? Oh my God, it's so long. Tinder. I met him on Tinder. And let me tell you about Tinder. I went on Tinder a few times. And the first time I went on, I said I would never go back on. It was ridiculous. This was years ago. This was back in like 2015, 2016. I went on Tinder and I met some real characters. And I said, nope, I ain't never going back on that app ever again. And then one of my homeboys was telling me how he met his future wife on Tinder, and he was like, yeah, I'm about to propose or something like that. And I was like, that's awesome. And he was like, you should try it. I was like, nah, I'm good. I was like, I'm not going back on that app. Not going on now. So I had started my job, and I was about maybe a month or two into that job. No, actually, no, I was there for a while, but it was my first holiday season at my job. And the day after Thanksgiving is usually a slow day. I worked in healthcare, and I was sitting at my desk, and I said, you know what? Let me sign up for Tinder. And I ended up signing up, and I put one picture. I did not do a bio profile, whatever. I just put a picture up and I put my age, and I think that was it. And I ended up never going back on. Actually, no, the story is kind of twisted. I had went on months before, and I created that account, signed off, never went back on. It was open, but I didn't, it was still, the account was still open. And the day after Thanksgiving, when I was at work, I was bored. So I picked up the phone and I started scrolling, and I went on Tinder, And I'm seeing all these inbox thingies, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And I'm just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And then I saw my husband, and I read his profile, and just his face. He's handsome, right? But he just had like this, it was something about him. I can't even tell you. I can't even put my finger on it. But I swiped, and we matched. And once we matched, he messaged me instantly. When I tell you, I got that message immediately. And we were talking. It was flowing. By the end of the day, I had left work at 5 o'clock that day. We were still talking. We were talking at night. That morning, I was like, I'm deleting this app. That's it. I'm deleting this app. So I deleted it. And that was my husband. So yeah, you never know. God could lead you. I believe that was God in that moment, because I wasn't going back on that app again, and I ended up going back on the app. So when you're in that waiting phase, use the time to grow, use the time to heal, use that time to get closer to God, because when you're aligned with God, you'll be able to discern, like I said, who you are. And he will work, he'll do some work in you and prepare you for what's to come, right? So I feel like the waiting season for me was, it was short. I didn't have a long waiting season, because I said, like, I went back on Tinder, and I was like, I wasn't gonna go on there, and then I met my husband, and from there, the first date, we never stopped dating, we never stopped talking. We met November. We started dating November 2016. Guys, I have kids. And I don't know if you just heard, but my son just knocked on the door, and it was so loud. It derailed me. Um, I think I was talking about my waiting season and how it wasn't that long, because the Lord, you know, shifted me somehow, and I went on Tinder, and then I met my husband, and I never had to date ever again. So I'm gonna wrap this up, but I always leave you guys with some takeaways. If I could sit down with you one on one and tell you what to do differently, these are some of the things that I would say. Date with intention. Don't just date to pass time. Date with purpose. Don't waste your time. You don't got outfit, makeup. Makeup is expensive. Clothes is expensive. Time is, you can never get that back. So date with intention. Number two, be sure to set boundaries from the jump. Don't wait until, you know, later on to want to set boundaries. You have to do it early. Access should always be earned and not given freely. Number three, don't ignore the red flags. What you ignore now, you will definitely deal with later, especially when it's a character flaw and those things. You will deal with it later. Number four, focus on healing before marriage. Don't wait until marriage to start doing the work. It is going to make it very challenging, because marriage alone is very challenging, right? You don't want to come in with all your baggage. Some baggage is okay, but everything, you don't want to trauma dump your poor husband. Number five, trust God's timing. What God has for you will not require you to force it. There's a time for everything. Amen. I really pray that this message blessed you. Um, you know, I feel like dating is deeper than just dating. It's really about healing. And honestly, this is something I'm, once again, so passionate about, because I know what it feels like to be in unhealthy cycles, patterns. I know what it feels like to be broken, and to have, I also know how it feels to have unhealed soul wounds affecting your relationships, affecting how you start relationships, how you work in the relationships. I had to go through my own healing process, and I had to allow God to truly deal with me. And once again, that is why the Lord blessed me with my ministry, Restored by Khash. It's for women who are tired of repeating cycles and is ready to heal for real, for real. I help women work through soul wounds, healing, restoration, and get into the root of what's going on internally. But you have to be ready. Healing requires honesty, it requires accountability, and it requires real work. But when you do that, your entire life shifts. So if you're ready to be healed and you're ready to prepare yourself for what's next, you can absolutely book a session with me. I'll have that information available down below in the description. And I'm about to be out of here. Listen, if you don't remember anything else I said in this episode, right? Remember this. Don't rush what God is trying to prepare you for, because who you are before marriage will show up in your marriage. And that's real truth right there. This wraps up today's episode. I am about to be gone. I have so much to do today. I pray this conversation gave you clarity, conviction, and comfort. And if you're in a season, like I said, waiting, healing, or preparing for marriage, just know that God is working on you before he sends you what's for you. If this blessed you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to another woman who needs it. It's your girl Khash. And remember, restoration looks good on you. I'll see you in the next episode.